And welcome. I'll start again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final webinar of the Future of Retail Customer Engagement 2021, brought to you by the Retail Bulletin. Thank you for joining us. If you've come back and you've been to all of the sessions today, if you've been to all 5, I did promise you the badge. So just get in touch with the Retail Bulletin and they'll send you a I've been to all webinars badge. If you have just joined us for the first time, that's a joke, by the way, but if you do write in asking for a badge, I'm sure Karen at the Retail Bulletin will sort you out with one. If you have just joined us for the first time, you're very welcome as well. I'm Darren, I'll be the moderator for the session today. Delighted to be in the chair, even more delighted to have a brilliant panel talking about customer journey management today, embracing digital transformation for a more unified view of the customer. How's that for a subject? Well, we're going to unpack it with these wonderful faces that you see on the screen with me. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves, please, guys, if I may. And I'm going to start with you, Matthew. Hello, welcome. Who are you?
Hello. So I'm Matthew Lawson. I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Ribble Cycles. I've been here for 6 years now. I was brought in to do a digital transformation of what was a family-run business selling bike parts and some bikes, to transform it into the direct-to-consumer UK's leading bike brand that you here see today.
And you're very welcome, sir. I was looking at your website actually as well. There's many cycles on there that I would like to purchase.
Well, there's always a deal to be had.
Exactly what I was waiting for you to say. Perfect. I'll be in touch. No, great to have you on the panel, and welcome indeed. Alex, over to you next. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm in Bahrain at the moment. I'm Chief Customer Service Experience something. Forget the title. I'm always worrying about customer service, which means more than customer service. So you want to buy something, you want to return it, you want to know where it's coming. That's what I do. So I'm currently working with a digital startup company in the Middle East in stealth mode, which I always thought was a naff phrase, but basically means we can't reveal our brand name yet because there's a huge bunch of marketing coming. And before that, I've always worked for contact centers, customer service, omnichannel, logistics, airline, whiskey was the best sector. That's what I do.
How long have you been in Bahrain for?
On and off about 19 months now, but I did used to come back to the UK, but Boris put us on the red list because I think we had about 8 deaths in 2 weeks. So thanks, Boris.
Indeed. Funnily enough, you know, one of our previous panelists was Bahrain, Obsession before.
I heard, yeah. Yeah,
so who knew? You have 2 of you from Bahrain on the bounce. But yeah, you're halfway through a 4-week lockdown, yeah?
Yes, it finishes next week. But our lockdown is a proper one.
Right.
The pubs are not open and they call it lockdown, whatever crazy UK thing is going on now.
Well, we're emerging from lockdown in stages, Alex. There you go. And we all understand those stages perfectly, don't we? Exactly. Good to have you with us, sir, and welcome again from Bahrain. Shatal, hello, welcome. Who are you?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So there's a common Middle East theme going on. So I've just come back from Kuwait, where I was head of digital and CRM for Al Shaya, which is a massive retail group out there, retail franchise group out there. And then previously I was at Engine Group as CRM director, and then Subway and Shell before that.
Very welcome on the panel too, Al Shaya, with huge business. So we're looking forward to hearing from your perspective and insight as well. So welcome. And then finally, but last but not least, Andy, we've worked together before. Hello again, and thank you again to you and Red Eye for sponsoring this particular session. Always appreciated. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. So
yeah, who are you?
Yeah, I'm Andy Stockwell, so I'm Chief Commercial Officer at Red Eye. So we're an AI-driven marketing automation provider. I've been with Red Eye for 20 years, helping customers to unlock hidden data within their customer databases, drive further value. So yeah, very nice to be talking to you all today.
Yeah, welcome back, and good to see you on one of our TRB panels again. Thank you very much to you and Red Eye. Let's get things kicked off. Audience, I know it's later in the day, but stick with us if you can. And part of sticking with us is to ask us questions as well. My job as a moderator is to make sure that I promise you, if you ask a question, I will get it answered for you. You may have a question that is for one of the panel specifically, or you may want to ask a more general buzzer first question, and I'll put it to all of them and see which one wants to speak up. But yeah, we are here to answer your questions too. Hopefully we'll keep the content engaging and you stay with us, but yeah, get involved and use the Q&A button. Depending on what device you're using, it's probably at the top or the bottom of the screen, I don't know, but there'll be a Q&A button somewhere. Find it and use it. And as always, to my panelists, if you want to have a chat with me behind the scenes, use the chat function. Good, let's get things going. Matthew, I'm going to start with you, if I may. I've just got your Ribble cycles up again in front of me right now, as I was thinking about the bikes I have been looking at. There's a particular hybrid I've got my eye on here right now. So I don't need a new bike, I just want one. It's one of those differences between need and want. But how have you used content to help convert customers and create a frictionless journey? Your website looks great. So what are you doing?
So it's a good question. Content is critical, and the thing what's really important to just try and understand is that content just comes in all different guises. You know, we are ranging from like upper funnel, long form video content, right down to the final few words that you see next to the CTAs in the final stages of your checkout. So that is what I would consider content. And again, just to put it a bit to like context a few things when thinking about conversions, is that conversions, you just need to decouple it from the ultimate conversion, which is the sale or the second sale or whatever it is to think about it as micro conversions. And these conversions happen all the time. And therefore it's trying to find the right content to go with the right desired goal or challenge. And this is massive for Ribble because we are direct to consumer and we are marketing and selling our own products. So we got to build a desire for the brand, but also perform just as well as a well-oiled e-com funnel. So for us, the biggest challenge for us is like that first impression conversion. So how do I take somebody from a social scroller to an engaged shopper in like sub a second? Because that's what you're fighting for. How do we get them off the Facebook, the Instagrams, whatever? And now it's time to go looking at some bikes and buying some bikes, and they may not be buying today. Our buying cycles are many weeks, as you can see on the website. You know, the bikes aren't they're not a no-brainer. I'm going to buy it right now. They are a considered purchase. You know, the average price is a couple of £1,000. But I've got to try and entice them in as super quick. But what's really important is about understanding the context, understand the journey at every stage, and look for the questions and at every point to ensure relevancy and content, and that you're putting out at those stages. So when I was saying about those little bits behind next to the buttons, content in the right places. And content can, for us, content can actually come across as even real-time content. So currently we've had, you go onto our website and you're in the buying journey of our website, you currently have instant access to sales agents in the showroom, our flagship showroom. You can click a button instantaneously, you'll be talking to somebody directly with a video connection with our team. They are bike experts, showcasing the products, answering those questions that you will have. And that is all about finding the right, they're going to be in a journey, part of the journey where we can't predict the question that they're going to have. So therefore we need to be ready for everything. And we need to make it instantaneous. We don't think we should be putting bots in the way or anything like that. It's all about that human connection with a digital experience.
Yeah.
And that is because we need to try and find the right content for them and the right format for them. And that might be that they want to see the underside of the bike because they've got a particular attachment that they want to see if that mudguard will fit the new CGR bike that they want to get. And we'll do that. We'll get the camera, we'll go right underneath it and they can look at it and feel it. But again,
I've just done it. I hadn't clicked speak with an expert, but I just see exactly what you mean. It literally is ready to take me straight to someone, a real person.
Yes.
How long are you using that function for?
So, a while now. So it's well over a year, well, nearly 2 years now. So we saw it as an opportunity well before the pandemic, because we feel like we had a massive asset as in our showrooms, and we have our website, and it's definitely an extension of the same thing. And it's how do I leverage that to bring my great agents who can sell products at 60% better, higher AOV than they can if they just transact on the website alone. How do I get those people adding value to the customer journeys? And, you know, it's been brilliant for us. Adoption skyrocketed because the barriers of entry for customers allowing access to their mics, because that's all we need. And they can start talking to our staff in the stores and having a brand immersive experience. Because again, that's another micro conversion. How do I turn a head purchase into a heart purchase? Again, that is something that we are trying to target, because there's many brands that you could buy from a bike perspective. I wanted to buy a Ribble. I believe and I love our products, and I need to get them to love our products too.
Yeah. It's from what I said, it's very impressive. And if I'd wanted to push through, then I could have spoke to someone straight away. So I didn't even know you had that feature before. So I missed it in the bottom right-hand corner there. But no, very good. Great start, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Alex, I'm going to come to you. Digital, social media, it's all around us everywhere in our private lives. And how retailers use it a lot. How can retailers create kind of a robust customer interaction that provides an easier service outcome? Is it all through social media, or is there some way else?
So actually Matthew's example was a wonderful one. And I think he does himself a disservice calling himself Chief Digital Officer, because that digital is just a channel to what some amazing things going on underneath the channel. That's part of the answer, that too many companies force customers down one path, one channel, and they forget there's a physical item behind many of these. And I can't think of one company in the last 20 that I've not started by looking on a website or an app. And even if I'm in a store, I'll look at the website or the app in the store. So everyone is going to start digitally. Well, the vast majority are going to start digitally, but then don't make it a marketing engagement transaction experience. Make it okay, this customer wants to ask a question. How can we make it as easy as possible for them to ask that question? And that means let them choose their channel. So they'll nearly always be starting on a thing like this, a digital mobile phone. And they will, okay, I have a question. So use the personalized knowledge marketeers focus on so much for the customer service experience journey. So, okay, we can see you've been browsing these products for the last 5 minutes. We assume your question is about the thing you've been browsing for the last 5 minutes. Touch a button, and then we'll give you a self-service answer, the most common answers, but it won't be a cul-de-sac. You can say, no, it didn't help me. I want to talk to someone. And that's when you can say, right, okay, how do you want to talk to us? Do you want to phone us and talk to someone in a store, as per Matthew's example? Do you want to send us a message like WhatsApp equivalent? We should never have web chat as it is. It should always be asynchronous. Or do you want to request a callback? There's only actually two channels if you think about it. There's voice and digital. So make it just, forget the forcing people down a chatbot that then forces you to a knowledge management, to a chat session that basically drives you insane. Really show them personalized self-service answers that are relevant to what you know about them. And if you don't, create a very simple, intuitive interface. What's your question about? Is it about the package we can see you've ordered last week? You probably think it should be delivered by now. So let's give you some information about your delivery that we know you're probably worrying about. Really make everything so interactive and simple, and personalize it. So to answer your question, you don't force them down social media. You give them the channel of choice. And the thing with social media, though, is too many companies, I think we're 5 or 10 years behind the curve with social media when it comes to brand customer service interaction, because every one of my friends here, I use WhatsApp. And when I use WhatsApp, I can send them a recorded audio message. I can send them a picture. I can send them a video. I can phone them. That's the way we should interact with companies. So even the big bricks and mortars retailers, the very largest ones, you sit in a call center queue because the web chat is bad. You have no option because the website doesn't give you the answer, and you try phoning the store and it directs you to a central call center. And then it's just painful. Why can't you just say, hi, John Lewis, that package I'm expecting today, can you tell me where it is? Sent, done. Now, John Lewis, you do the work. That's what retailers need to focus on. And whether you're a small size company or a large one, that's the future. And companies that don't realize that now are going to be dead, I think, in 5 years, because customers won't tolerate it. And everything I've said is what we're trying to build, and a lot more in my current role. So I'm not just talking aspirationally.
I know a lot of customers, though. Thanks for that, Alex. I know a lot of customers who have gone to social media to try and contact a big business, even using the private message function, which they feel is a more direct way of talking to a retailer, because the traditional channels of call centers and emails haven't been responded to. Have you heard that too?
I've not only heard it, I've seen it. I've worked for big brands, a certain leading British airline, we can guess who that is, where they had, I think, 2,500 people in the contact center and a team of 20 in the social media center. And if you message social media, they just think other people can see this. So we're going to put it above everyone else, including the poor people who've been waiting for 3 hours in a call center queue. But social media should be the same, treated in the same way as any other channel. And companies have CRM platforms where they record phone calls, web chats, digital interactions, and they have a completely separate social media platform. To me, the customer chooses their channel. It all goes into the same single agent desktop, the same single CRM brain that says, here's Darren. He's been on Twitter. He did a web chat. He phoned us. He went to a store. It's got to be exactly the same experience. But they use social media because, as you say, it's a fast track, which is unfair, actually, because I think if someone's waiting in a call center queue for 2 hours, what's their context? Just because someone's noisy on Twitter, they could have something nowhere near as important or vital as the customer in the queue. So yeah, it needs a lot of work, seriously.
Yeah, no, it's a big issue that still seems to be unresolved in a number of retailers. But thanks for that insight, Alex, and we'll come back to you as the panel progresses. Chantal, I'm going to come to you, if I may, please.
Sure.
A slight pivot, but digital transformation is such a big buzzwords that are used, but some retailers haven't even really started digital properly, let alone transforming it. It can all be quite intimidating. What advice would you give retailers looking to start out on a digital journey?
Sure, thanks, Darren. So we've heard of some excellent examples of focus from Matthew and Alex, and I think all my battle scars are built from, you start out wanting to make these wonderful customer journeys where you sit in, if you remember the time when we all sat in physical meeting rooms with flip charts and post-it notes, and we all sat there making these wonderful, intricate, fantastic customer journeys of the customer experiences that we all wanted. And then you go and work out all the data sources and the customer data platform you need to deal with all of these wonderful customer journeys and all the stakeholder management that comes with it. And then you think, actually, this is really not going to be a 6-month project. This is suddenly a 5-year project with board sign off and all the rest of it. So through learning by doing, and as I said, a lot of battle scars, my advice is really to be pragmatic, and what I mean by pragmatic in this sense is really to look at where are the quick wins. So for example, in one of my organizations, we didn't have offline and online data sitting in the same place. Now, some of you are gasping, some of you are carrying the corner saying, yeah, that's my problem. The reality is there'll be a number of data sources that if you can just put it in the same place on your current data platform, interrogate that data and build some simple customer journeys, you can already move the needle. And that would be my advice, is to be absolutely pragmatic and to look for the quick wins to start off with, and then you can get more and more sophisticated and do some of the excellent journeys that you want to do and you can deliver. But start small is definitely my advice, and don't reach out for the big wall charts and post-its right at the beginning.
It's almost like don't take on too much at once and do half a job of all of that. Do a few things really well, yeah?
Absolutely. Prove the business case, first of all, on your smaller journeys, your simpler, smaller journeys. Prove that you can move the needle, and then you will get the resource. Hopefully, you will get the resources and all of the new tech you need to deliver some of those more intricate journeys.
Good work. Thank you for that, and thanks for your contribution as well. Andy, so you've been sat there so patiently waiting to have your say. So thank you, sir. Customer journey mapping. There's a phrase for you. Firstly, what is it?
Yeah, well, customer journey mapping is using your customer data to map out how your customers, interact with your brand. And yeah, the basis of your marketing strategy is you've got to first of all really understand how are people interacting with you, how they're finding with you, what are they using, what information do they need.
And in terms of then using that to enhance communications, elevate and take things up a level, how do you do that?
Yeah, so it actually, right now we're in a period where it becomes more important than ever before. We've gone through a massive period of change. So people's needs and wants have changed, which therefore changes their behavior. So it's something you've got to do regularly to make sure you're up to date with what your customers need. But yeah, once you've got that, it's a case of basically identifying what are those key moments for your brand, where can you have the biggest impact, and then personalizing as much as possible to make it relevant to those customers. So we have clients who have thousands of personalized elements that are then automatically dropped into communications depending on where somebody is in those journeys. And then really the way to elevate from there is don't just look back, use predictive data to look forward and look at what are they going to do next and try and impact those at the next stage. So, look at things like when a customer is going to leave you, it's much easier to influence that and predict when they're lapsing rather than try to win them back when you've lost them.
Indeed, and I think sometimes it's about unpacking the mystery of it all as well. Yeah, so people truly understand what they're doing.
Completely, and I'm completely with Chital about starting small, prove the business case, and then find out what's working for you, and then focus your efforts on where you're getting the biggest returns. That's the best way to build these things up iteratively. You can start relatively small, but by just doing it in a consistent manner over time, you build a very complicated program that runs itself and can drive significant return for you with very minimal human interaction. And that's really where we see it go.
Got it. Thank you, sir. We actually have our first question in, and it's to all of you. So it sounds like an avid TRB viewer because he or she has been following these for a few weeks now. Thank you, TRB guests, whoever you are. Thank you for your nice comments about my hosting skills as well. Your £5 is in the post. But the question for all of you is as follows, and I'm going to try and read it verbatim. So listen carefully and we'll go around in the same order. How do you get inspired to create engaging content consistently? I find this has been a challenge throughout lockdown due to the lack of company-wide events or opportunities. Example, National Convenience Show has been postponed until next year after I've got all my content sorted and scheduled. By the way, you're doing a great job, guys. So yeah, the headline of the question is, how do you remain inspired? How do you get inspired to create engaging content consistently? Matthew.
Yeah, so I think it's, well, partly we've never really seemed to have had a similar the same challenge. We've just we've got a culture of our brand needs to be communicated through our content. Our content is going to drive the success of the business in the long term, and everybody in the business is appreciative of that. We had the same challenge. As soon as we walked into the lockdown, London Bike Show got cancelled. We had a choice. We either don't do anything, or I stood there with all my bikes. I had all the guys ready to be presenting. I had all the assets at a massive big set that I was ready to set up at the bike show. But I also had a lot of cameras. So I decided to do it digitally. So we streamed the Ribble bike show. So, and our reach was probably 10 times bigger than what we would have got at the show. And it was received well. We launched our bikes there, sales were good off the back of it, and that content became evergreen. But equally, content from the team is underpinned from a requirement from all areas. So like even when we talk to influencers, I have different types of influencers. Influencers who influence, obviously, but there's influencers who can create content for me. So they're providing a service, so they may not have big reach, but they produce something that is engaging, that people can relate to, and is relevant to my brand. And therefore I'll prioritize them. Then sometimes they're worth more to me when times are tough to trying to get out, or stock availability, I haven't got a bike. Just gives you more ammunition and more tools at your disposal to try and create the content you need to engage with your customers. On top of that, the staff. We are a passion brand. We have got bikes. People like cycling, and they do like taking pictures. So again, when we were in lockdown, an example of this is that you could go out on your bike. So the guys came in, like one at a time, came and got product and took it out, took it to inspirational places across the country where they're around, where they lived, took some pictures. That was content for us, and it just allowed us to do it. We championed it, we celebrated it, and it helped us get through it. That we need to get it from all angles, because you can't just rely on one team to produce and do all the work.
It's a great example. Thanks for kicking us off. Alex, what would you add to that?
A very different angle on a similar theme. So I write content on LinkedIn quite a lot. I'm actually officially a CX influencer according to LinkedIn, but most of my content criticizes CX influencers. So first of all, put a headline. Well, why should, okay, that's quite outrageous. He writes that. Put a anchor. But what do I talk? I talk about things that happen to me as a customer. I don't talk highbrow theory, because I know if they happen to me, they happen to pretty much every other customer. So I don't say, hey, blinking Amazon, their omnichannel customer experience sucks. I say, I've made 5 orders from Amazon. 4 of them have not shown up within a week of when they promised to me. 3 of them are lost in space, and they still call themselves the planet's most customer-centric company. Question mark. So that gets people to think, but then anyone can chuck out. But I then, based on what I do, I am a customer service experience fixer in theory. I like to think I do a good job in it. So I then tell them how I think it should be fixed. So give them in your face. And honestly, the messages I get from the many CX influencers tell me, we hate you, Alex. It's disgusting. You're dissing. And I actually put a post only yesterday saying, CX should die. Somebody should kill CX. And there are millions of CXs. What I meant is CX in its current guise should die. Not clearly customer experience is the most important thing. But what I meant is, I'm sure we have 3 to 4 million CX practitioners, experts, visionaries, gurus, but I don't as a customer feel any improvement in my CX. In fact, it's getting worse. So, you could make it a personal story, put something in there that makes people think, we may even hate this guy for writing that, but we'll take a look. And then invariably though, 95% plus of people agree with my point of view. And the 5% who disagree, the 95% swarm on them and say, he's right, leave him alone. So it's, that's the way, I'm not a marketeer, but that's the way the Alex Mead brand is kept with engaging content, I hope. And sometimes the LinkedIn algorithms, it crashes and burns, even though I think it's awesome, but other times it goes crazy.
Good work. I'm loving that example. CX should die. It was all very underlined, but yeah, I'm sure that got some excellent commentary. Thank you, sir. Chantal, what's your view on all of this subject matter?
Sure, thanks, Darren. Again, I love Matthew's example, and I think that crystallizes kind of my opinion, and we've got through half an hour of the call without actually mentioning the C word, so sorry, I'm going to mention it. So COVID, everybody has their stories, but I think what COVID has allowed us to do as content creators and marketers is try a few new things. So again, I really liked Matthew's example is perfect to demonstrate my point, this human angle. Nobody's expecting glossy videos shot in the Caribbean anymore. They're looking for the human aspect. How can you relate your brand to my life currently while I'm stuck in lockdown in 4 weeks in Bahrain? So the most successful content and the most shared contents in all the stats that I've seen is those with a human element, where big brands, the mighty big brands, have said, okay, I'm going to go back into store, or I'm going to, as Alex said, make my customer experience a bit better. I'm going to try a few things. So I think my take on it is one, COVID unfortunately isn't going away at all. So try a few things, but I think the more you have a human and personal aspect to it, literally filming people doing what you're selling, you know, just your normal everyday people, that is what's getting the most cut through at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right to mention it. And I think there have been, you know, nobody wanted this to happen, but there have been a number of silver linings to what's happened, because it's forced everybody to think differently, you know, and ultimately, hopefully, businesses will benefit long term and consumers will benefit as well. So it was interesting earlier on, there was a guy from the airlines on, Malaysian Airlines, great panelist. And I was saying one of the things that really used to get my goat as a seasoned traveler was how hard it was to change your flight, you know, what a nightmare it was, and the charges involved and all of that bollocks basically, and how hard they made it. And now they've had to change that, and it's totally flexible and easy to get on there and, you know, change it in a heartbeat. And I said, is that here to stay? And he said, absolutely, it has to be here to stay. You know, and it's like, wow, if ever there was a silver lining out of the, you know, something that we could say we can take from the pandemic in that industry, that is one thing that's going to benefit the consumer. So yeah, it's a great example. Andy, wrap this subject up before I come back to some other questions for you guys. We've really given this guest a good set of compelling answers. I hope they're happy.
Yeah, for me it's looking at the whole process. So yeah, I think, you know, workshopping is a great way to get inspiration, I think. And I think depending on the size of your budget, the inputs that you can bring into those sorts of workshops, whether it's, you know, really good data insight where, you know, you've been able to crunch the numbers and really pull out some key stats you can use, or if you can, you know, go as far as doing user experience and get some customers into labs and really see how they're using the site. And then you bring your experts from around the business from different areas, so you get those different opinions. So you've got people on the front line, you know, you might senior managers, you know, people who are relatively new to your brand, and just try and bounce those different sorts of ideas off. And then, yeah, I'm sure we'd all agree, then test it and understand, you know, what works best. We can now change things so quickly, and A/B and multivariant test content, you know, you can allow, you know, the performance to tell you what works best.
Work. Well, I hope whoever you are, TRB guest, that is a very full and fruitful set of examples and answers to your very good question. Thank you for raising that as well. It seems to have inspired some great content. And whoever that was just said thank you as well. So you can tell us your name if you like. Don't be shy. We won't come after you. But yeah, brilliant session. Thank you. I'm going to come back to some of the earlier content of the webinar origins. I'm going to come back to you, Matthew, as well, if I may. Customer experiences, making them relevant, you know, and I don't really like the word omnichannel. It bugs me a little bit because I think customers just shop with brands, not channels. But how do you make customer experiences relevant through which channel they shop?
Yeah, well, firstly, it kind of supports what you just said, Darren. Firstly, you just need to embrace that your business is an omnichannel business. It's just the way it is. Because if you're not, and you kind of pigeonhole yourself into a channel, or I'm a bricks and mortar or whatever, you're just simply ignoring a part of your customer journey that you're just then putting yourself at as a disadvantage. But once you see that, you know, like customers are on a journey, meandering from one touch point to another, whether that's physical, digital, device, whatever, you'll start to see opportunities where you can like start to influence it. Back to what Andy was talking about with customer journey mapping, take it further, wider than just what interacts with yourself, that conversation's at home. You know, for us, you're influenced by your friends. So I need to influence your friend. That is something that you need to be considerate of. No. And for Ribble, we are a digital first business, and we ensure that this is true in all activities that we undertake. So again, I'm going to reference back to our flagship showroom. This is a great example of this on multiple levels, is that this is I truly believe it's an extension of the website. It's truly a digital enabled environment, because the POS alone, every bike has got POS, but this is actually driven from an adaptation of the website. It's not just a web page, it's a treatment to the website that makes it suitable for the POS through touch devices, so they can get all the content. So the customer doesn't need to pick out their phone to double check the prices or whatever. We're doing it for them. And what's also great about that is when I change the website and update the content, my entire retail portfolio is up to date. So wow. No questions for the managers, no question for that. Equally, the agents may see things on a device that might be updating. They feed back to us. It's updated within seconds across the entire business. And we embrace how people shop because, you know, I know they're starting their journey browsing on Instagram and then coming onto my website, onto the mobile. They spend the majority of the time on their mobile. They make the decision on the mobile. They may come to the store, and they come to the store to want to talk about bike. What we enable is the customer to be able to build a bike, which can be as simple but as complicated as you can make it. We as a business, we have one of the most most configurable bike builder in the whole of the world. Billions of combinations of what you could do with the bike, because we want to make sure you get the right bike for you. But we don't need to force you to convert there and then. You may not want to. You may want to go home and get some permission from other people in your family, or you want to talk about it a bit more with your friends. So we generate a little code. They can go home, type in that code, and the same bike with the same build, the same custom color experience that you've talked through with the agent in the store is now on your screen at home, ready for you to convert, because the majority of my transactions are actually through the desktop. So yeah. I'm not spending any money on the marketing on the desktop because I know they're doing it over here. But it's just understanding the relevancy and where and what and how to embrace that one kind of journey. You just need to find where you want to interact with it and then go and do a proper job on it, because you got to start with the touch points and then challenge yourself to be like, but you need to keep it true to your values as a business, because if you don't, you start to come across as it's not the journey that you want, it's not true to you. And that's, you know, we've embraced digital because it's how our business operates.
Well, what's obvious out of that answer as well, though, and this is where I think the challenge lies for some businesses, that the leadership, this is a compliment to you, has really done the thinking about this as well. So there's been a real from top down intent, it would seem, at Ribble Cycles to try and connect the whole lot up so one benefits the other. So it's a really impressive example. Thank you.
But just to build on that, Darren, it's not my ideas, it's my team's.
Yeah.
All my job is to remove the barriers so that they can come up with the ideas that get implemented. Because all those things I just talked about, nothing to do with me.
All the best leaders surround themselves with the greatest talent. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Great answer. Alex, talk to me, sir. I'm going to use that omnichannel word again, but omnichannel customer experience journeys, how should they be designed and implemented in this digital world that we live in?
Okay, again, I'm going to say something that I think is quite unique that I don't see anywhere. So I would love to go to John Lewis, Marks and Spencer, Amazon website, and the first thing it says is, "Hi, Alex, how can we help you?" Not, "Here's a bunch of products. Do you want to buy something? Do you want to ask us about something you've already ordered? Or do you want to return something?" Imagine completely re-engineering. So as you said, it's brand experience. So, okay, I want to buy something. All right. Is it one of these things you've been looking at for the last 5,000 or 6,000 page clicks on many social media sites? Or is it something new that we're going to design a lovely wizard interface to make it easy for you to find? And by the way, tell us what it is that's important to you about the product you're looking for. I'm not a marketeer, but everything is product based from what I see. And then, okay, it's not about something you want to buy. It's about something you've already bought from us. Okay, ching, 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 pretend robot typing noise, which drives me crazy, which is bad design. We've all heard it. Okay, we can see you have 3 orders with us. We can see one of them is due to be delivered to you at 2 p.m. today. We can see it's 3 p.m. Oh, our mistake. We've really screwed up, Alex. Here's what we can do about it. And by the way, here's what we know about it. If we know nothing, we're not going to leave that to you to solve. We're going to give you a solution. So yes, your parcel should have been delivered between 2 and 3 p.m. It's now 3:05. You've gone to our website or app. We're going to do something quite amazing for you, rather than well, hopefully it'll be there in the next 6 hours, mate. You know, it really is. Everything is so backward. So it's about something you want to order or something you've already ordered. Everything is about one of those two things. Everything fits into those two buckets. Something you want to order or something you've already ordered. There's no other bucket anything can fit into unless your driver ran over my cat. I want to complain about him, which is probably, and I had that as a real contact once. But so you could design things around that. So if it's about, to me, the customer experience is failing so much because of the customer service experience. I can't think of any brand in the last year where I've had a slick, I've gone to the app, the website, and it's been, oh, okay, we can help you with that so easily. And do you know what? Leave it with us. That's the other aspect for omnichannel customer service experience is there's a lot of, again, I'm impressed with what Matthew says because he's got a wonderful digital front end, but there's stuff behind that. And too many amazing apps and websites and digital retail glossy front ends. Okay, even one, I won't name them, but one of the biggest retailers in the UK. I was back in the UK a few weeks ago. I did click and collect. It's not here, mate. What? Click and collect. I've got 10 minutes. Well, we haven't got any information about it. It was shocking. But the experience before that was the website and app showed me 2 in stock. But you can't reserve. We have this lovely button, reserve one in the store. Pressed it. Oh, you can only reserve one if there's at least 3. Why? First of all, and these are high value items. They're not like 50 pack. They were 4-figure. So what's the process behind that? There's no reason that can't be fixed. Secondly, okay, can I talk to someone in the store who can just go and grab one and put it behind the counter for me? No, the only way I could get that was phoning a guy in a call center, an offshore outsourced call center, who said, oh, I can see there's none in stock. What? No, I can see there's 2. He didn't even have the same information as I was seeing. And then I got to the store and the click and collect wasn't ready. So I just thought, let's go and talk to the person behind the retail counter. Yeah, I've got 5 in stock, mate. Which do you want? It was just so badly joined up, the entire, but if the front end had been joined to the back end, the middle end, it would have been wonderful. So let's just stop the siloed thinking. And as you said, it's not omnichannel. My brand experience was ruined because of the bad joining up all the other experiences. And I can't think of a company that has that sort of thinking still now. And it really is the way things need to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. My personal view is actually the smaller or the independent businesses are doing a better job of it.
Absolutely.
And the bigger retailers have just kind of lost their way. I mean, what's your view, Chantal? What does good look like? How do you measure success at Alshire?
Sure. So again, going back to my previous point around very intricate customer journeys, post-its, all of that. And I think in terms of measuring them, so one, implementing them is can be quite intimidating, as I said, but then also measuring them as well. So the tendency and the inclination, of course, is to measure everything because, of course, that's what we're told to do. What I've learned over the years is basically, again, to put my pragmatic head on, and actually I've moved more towards measuring kind of key trends throughout those journeys, and then deep diving into those bits where you think actually there might be a little bit of problem here. So maybe starting off with customer satisfaction overall, as Alex was talking about, and really just measure that to start off with, and then deep dive into certain moments and key moments in your customer journey rather than trying to do all of it all at once, because again, that's going to take up resource and cost loads of money and time. But again, I'm all for the quick wins and trying to measure things that are actually going to make an impact on your business. So there'll be moments in your journey that are just either you can't do anything about or just functional, you have to do it that way. But for me, it's really focusing on the areas and analysing the returns on those critical moments for your business.
That's a good point. Andy, just sort of leading into you and pivoting slightly from this, but engagement on the back of all this, and that kind of frictionless journey for customers that retailers talk about consistently. What are you seeing brands doing from a Red Eye perspective? What's going on out there?
Yeah, I suppose there's 2 main ways. The first really is we've talked about it a lot, it's having that personalized, but also that sort of contextual experience for customers. So you're helping to make it as easy as possible for them. So, it might be what you're putting in those communications, it's things they've looked at, it's maybe next best categories that you think are right for those individuals, but also it's that contextual stuff like, putting in a map to their local store, making it really easy for them to find it. Introducing a store manager, you know, certain size brands is a really nice thing to do, to let them know a person that they can go and see. And then the second part really is, you know, looking when there's bumps in the road. You know, we all know there's been bumps in the road and there will be many more. So, you know, lots of businesses are struggling with things like stock at the moment. So yeah, using those things like back in stock communications to let customers know when something is coming back, because otherwise they're going to go somewhere else and buy it, and make that a good experience. So also replenishment, you know, proactively try and understand when is a customer ready to buy something again. You know, you can predict that quite easy. And certain products, you know, things like deodorant or you know, protein shakes, you can do that quite accurately to understand when somebody's going to buy that next. But also you can do that with other things. You know, you can predict when someone's going to purchase a pair of trainers again or a shirt. So that, you know, there's some really good ways you can use data to take away that sort of friction. Something we're doing at the moment with Klarna is a buy now button directly from an email. You can't get a lot more frictionless than that. So
yeah, so Klarna, you can basically, if you want something, you click in and it just takes you into the Klarna process straight from that email.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Seamless. And I guess the good thing with Klarna, I've heard, is you basically just go through the approval process in a matter of, you know, seconds compared to normal credit. Yeah, so it does actually feel fast, frictionless, easy to a customer.
Yeah, and that's what people want. You know, yeah, you can show them the individual payment method that's right for them. You know, everybody buys things with different, you know, different pieces of plastic, and it's about just making it really relevant and straightforward for somebody to go through those journeys.
Good stuff. Would you believe, guys, we are running out of time. It's already 14 minutes to 5. We have whizzed by. Just going to give you a heads up. I'm going to ask you all a final question to close off your sessions with. It's going to be around just sharing your wisdom with the audience that have stayed with us for the whole time. So thank you for that as well. But anything you would like to leave as a closing thought on this subject will be your closing words. And Matthew, the others get longer than you to think about that, but I'm going to come to you for some closing words as a fantastic panelist. What would you like to leave our audience with?
Well, I would say embrace the ideas within your team, because that's where you'll get most of your answers. Your team already know what they need to do a better job. They're in it every single day, and their ultimate goal is aligned to your goal anyway, which is, for us, giving a world-class experience, getting people riding bikes. And they will talk about the frustrations that customers may be having, because they'll be having the same frustrations trying to manage them, and then do something about it. If they have an idea, embrace it, MVP it, bootstrap it, whatever. I know the guys have talked about it in regards to start small, but ultimately they will give the right solutions ultimately for the customer and give a better experience. But you've just got to embrace it. It's never going to come down from a big idea. There's no silver bullets. There's just lots of bullets, and you just need to just get firing, and some will stick, some won't, but fail fast, and I celebrate the successes.
Well said. Thank you, sir, and thank you for your brilliant contributions to the panel today as well. Alex, wrap up some thoughts for us, sir. You're on mute.
Darn it.
We need to hear you.
I knew I'd be the one, darn it. So as one of my colleague panelists said, don't journey map, don't post it, just walk in your customer's shoes. Yeah. And it's something that we hear so many times, but I don't mean walking into customer's shoes by putting a headset on, taking a phone call and ticking off the executive. Go out with the guy who delivers your parcel. Go out with the guy who fixes your boiler. And I did that in a logistics role in 10 years ago. And I realized the delivery drivers were being pushed to do 80, 85, 90, 100 drops per day. And I saw the driver 5 times pressing this thing, tried to deliver, but the customer wasn't in. And I thought, you are nowhere near that address, mate. So from the customer feedback perspective, we hate parcel delivery company X. They always false card. They say they tried to deliver. No one came to our address. Easy to see that. But I saw from the driver perspective, he didn't have the time to make that drop because his route optimization software meant he then missed the guaranteed Amazon or whatever company pre 10 a.m., 2 p.m. pickups. And also the joining up of the data the customer had given to the retailer wasn't flowing through to the parcel delivery company. Hey, Mr. Delivery driver, when you're 5 minutes away, can you phone me on my mobile phone? Wouldn't even appear on the tick list or the PDA. So follow yourself through the customer journey and then the employee journey, and just build your CX program around those things. Don't Six Sigma it, Kaizen it, PwC, Deloitte, other consultants may apply. Just do it that way, and you'll realize, okay, there are some huge opportunities here to improve.
Yeah, I agree. And I do, if you do have shops, in the days I had shops, my favorite thing to do was just hang out with the team and hang out with customers. And the learnings are just aplenty. It's nuts. So absolutely great to have you with us, sir. Thank you for your contributions. Chantal, wrap up this point for us, please.
Sure. Consolidation between Matthew and Alex, so really just try it. So again, I'll go back to my earlier point. I'm not going to mention that word again. Just try a few things. I think people are tolerant to a point of where you're trying to help them and work with them. And also, I think leadership is also more open now because businesses are desperate. So I think use that opportunity, try a few things, and yeah, keep those bullets firing, as Matthew said.
Thank you, and thank you for giving up your time to be with us today, Chantal, as well. You've been a really great panelist. Andy, wrap it up for us.
Yeah, for me, I'd say use data to take action. So yeah, only use data if you're actually going to take action from it, and then push the boundaries. So, as everybody say, try and be different, come up with something new all the time, because your customers will notice that. That is what they're looking for. If everyone's saying the same thing, we're all going to be bored to death of buying anything. So yeah, stand out.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you, to Matthew, to Alex, to Andy, to Chantal. Thank you so much for wrapping up the 5th of our sessions today. And Andy, again, for your support from Red Eye. And to the other sponsors today, Happy or Not, Mention Me, Verint and Web Loyalty. Thank you for sponsoring all of the 5 sessions that have taken place. Believe it or not, that's a wrap. And believe it or not, again, the Retail Bulletin have asked me back on the 30th of June to host the Digital Transformation webinar. So thanks for hiring me again, TRB, always appreciated. But yeah, we'll be back in just a couple of weeks, actually, 2 weeks yesterday, on Wednesday, the 30th of June, for the Digital Transformation webinar. Another 5 sessions that day. So sign up if you haven't already. Another great set of panelists coming up. But today, for now, we are done. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. It must be time for a beer soon, I think, almost 5 o'clock. So enjoy your evenings, whatever you've got planned. And really thank you all, audience and panelists, again, for all of your amazing attention and time today. Good evening.
Good to talk to you all.